so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to... I'm going to just do that for 30 minutes today. So, yeah, hope you guys are ready for something a little different. Oh, me. I got to find new ways to amuse myself sometimes, guys. When you're sitting here talking to yourself, staring at a wall, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. And so I am so happy to be here with myself and with you who are tuning in after the fact and connecting, growing, learning, etc. And today we're going to talk about things and stuff, some whatnots as well. Oh, let's see. All right. Back down to earth. Here we go. Reviews, you guys. Have you ever heard me talk about reviews? I'm pretty sure you've heard me mention it a time or two, or 1,000 times, you know. And we've got some. I'm actually going to read a couple today on iTunes that popped up on my screen here. This one is by Tanuki31. Love the variety of topics. Brandon's insights, variety of formats, and topics make this an inspiring podcast for anyone who wants to learn more and receive a daily dose of love. Thank you, Brandon. Well, Tanuki31, thank you for completing the circle of love and shining it back in my direction. It definitely fuels my fire to continue this labor of love. So thank you. Also, let's see. Since that one was a little short, I'll read another one. By Heart in the Hands. So much love for you. Thank you to the center of the universe and back, dear Brandon. You have brought us all a little closer to our highest forms of self with your unending quest to learn and share the secrets of life itself. What amazingly beautiful work you do to help us all uplift and reorganize our thought patterns, emotions, and general outlook on life. I have the utmost love and gratitude for you and all the wonderful souls that are interviewed or guests on your podcast. This podcast has helped me personally come out of my dark year of the soul with a greater understanding of it all and with deep feelings of love and acceptance of everything I've experienced. I've learned to love the contrast as much as I love the reward for staying in my center. You have motivated me to get back on my path and be open about my experiences and share my heart and wisdom with those seeking as well. There are not accurate enough words in the English language to express my love and gratitude for you, this podcast, and the feeling of infinity running through my soul at this moment, so I will leave you with this. I love you so much. Aw, with a big heart. Thank you, Heart in the Hands. I love you so much as well. It is such an honor, and certainly you are fueling my moment and future moments with these wonderful kind words. You guys are doing it yourself. I'm just playing a role here, facilitating as I successfully attempt to raise my own vibration. It's a good kind of virus, right? I love virus that's connecting and uplifting you guys too. And then you're feeding it back to me, and it just obviously, look what I just read. So we're just creating this wonderful feedback loop of goodness. And as we ascend together, and it is such an honor to play a role in your lives. And if you guys haven't reviewed on iTunes, obviously, not only does it get me very excited, as you can see, it also helps us to reach new people, since iTunes is the holy grail of all things podcasting. Also, if you're not on the Facebook group yet, how dare you? Positive Heads with an S. That's where we're all connecting, sharing, asking questions. It's a private group, so you can open up about personal topics. Any of you out there who are being shy, don't be shy. Step up, connect with your soul fam. And if you're not on there yet, definitely do so. And you can write in questions as well through the Facebook group, Brandon@positivehead.com, through the Positive Head website as well. And definitely we'll be answering some of those. Haven't taken a question in a minute, but we'll be doing that soon. So yeah, your question may end up on the show if you write in. So what I want to talk about, actually a little bit of synchronicity, as always, in that review. Heart in the Hand said, I've learned to love the contrast as much as I love the reward for staying in my center. And that is key. That's exactly what I want to talk about today. So of course, not knowing that's what the review is going to read. But as always, it's perfect because, so last night I had the pleasure, been meeting some of you guys lately more and more. And I had the pleasure of meeting the amazing Ronit, and she's a listener, amazing soul, singer, songwriter, creative, divine being in physical. And it was awesome to connect. And one of the things that came up in our conversation was, in her case, she's on a pretty strict diet and talked about cheating with food. In this case, we were talking about alcohol. It came up, and I was like, that's, what? And instantly what happened is I got charged with, and I get excited pretty easily, as you guys know. But sometimes when I get excited about things, it's like, okay, it feels to me like this is what I should talk about the next day or whatever. And I had that moment for a second, and it was, her sort of taking and saying, I had alcohol and, that's not part of my dietary plan, and sort of like this, I shouldn't be doing this, which we're all guilty of at different times for different things. But what really jumped out is like, okay, if you're going to do it with your full, whole, absolute heart. And I want to just talk about that some more today. And of course, I've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again, how important it is to, whatever you're going to do, if you've decided, let's say you've got a plan for yourself, a life plan, something that I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do this. I'm no longer, alcohol is just such a great example because a lot of people have struggled with that for various reasons, whether health or whether, I have a problem where it really alters my state and creates a negative impact on my personality and emotions and those around me. Across the board, a lot of people can relate to having a problem with that particular substance for various reasons. And let's say you now break that rule with yourself that you're not going to do it, and you do it. And maybe for food, happens a lot with food. So I'm not going to eat bread anymore. Well, if I decide to eat bread, what I've learned to start doing, and it's taken me a while, is okay, and that's part of what I'm seeking to avoid, bread, dairy, things like that. But I've had moments where I've decided to have those things. If I'm going to have them, the best thing I can do is do them with my full heart, love them fully, go fully into it, absolutely enjoy it. Actually, this makes me think of the book, Way of the Peaceful Warrior, I believe it's called. It's been a long time since I read it, but and they actually made it into a movie later. Not as good as the book, but it was still good. And I remember in that movie, Socrates, and actually, funny enough, Socrates is who I quoted on the last daily episode the quote, know thyself. But Socrates is a character in that movie. And I remember him and the main character. Socrates was sort of like the spiritual teacher of this gymnast in the story. And I remember they decided to drink, and that was the whole lesson. Okay. As a gymnast, he was on the strict diet and, exercise regime and all these things. And Socrates is like, they decided to drink, and it was, let's do this with our full heart. Then you transmute what is going on into something good for yourself, because nothing is intrinsically bad. The energy you give to it, the perspective you bring to it really is going to determine energetically, ultimately, what it's doing to yourself. So if you're, doing something you shouldn't, if you're not feeling peaceful in a given moment, like, Heart in the Hand said eloquently, learning to love the contrast as much as loving yourself when you're in your center. So if you're out of balance, you've stepped out of what it is that you've intended to do, love yourself fully there. This is what, I'm eating this bagel right now with cream cheese, and I swore to myself I wouldn't do it, but here I am doing it. So being guilty about it, feeling bad about it, that's the worst thing we can do energetically. On the opposite side of the coin, if you say, this is really going to bring me comfort in this moment, and it's something that I'm just really craving, and you really resonate with that, and I'm going to indulge, and it's okay, and I'm really enjoying this. Now the energy of that experience, what's happening in your body then versus beating yourself up, with every bite. Right? So Eckhart Tolle said, forgive yourself for not being at peace. The moment you completely accept your non-peace is transmuted into peace. Anything you accept fully will get you there, will take you into peace. This is the miracle of surrender. So same thing, right? Forgive yourself if you're feeling, out of your center, right? Out of alignment, feeling bad is the ultimate example of this same sort of principle. If you're feeling, just out of whack, out of alignment, forgive yourself for not being at peace. Love yourself there. The moment you love yourself there, you've transmuted the non-peace into peace. So we're always our own worst critics. We are our biggest obstacle to all the things that we want to see and experience and be next in our journey in 3D. So this is just huge, this thing. Forgiving yourself, loving yourself where you're at. You're exactly where you need to be. If you're cheating on food, you're having alcohol, you're not at peace, you're out of alignment, great. I'm doing it fully with my heart. I'm accepting it fully. I'm going to love myself where I'm at, and that's going to transmute everything into a benefit in some way. So what I'd like to do now is take a moment and play a clip. So not only did I have this conversation with Ronit last night, and then I was trying to remember what it was that we talked about all kinds of things. And I was like, I remember there's something I talked about with her that I even made a note out loud. Oh, maybe this is what I should talk about tomorrow. And then I couldn't remember this morning, and I'm having my coffee and trying to figure it out. And then I see that quote, and it sort of, that Eckhart Tolle quote, and it sort of jarred me. Oh, yeah, that's it. So then, of course, I pull up a Abraham video. What's the first thing? It's called Don't Beat Up on Yourself for Any Behavior. Well, you can imagine what the behavior is that is brought up. It's exactly the same conversation, what Ronit and I were talking about, the alcohol thing. So I found this on the Eternal Joy YouTube page. And yeah, this is Abraham, Don't Beat Up on Yourself for Any Behavior. Take a listen.
So, which feels better? I soothed myself a bit through alcohol, or in my weakness, I chose something to numb myself out. Which felt better?
In my weakness, I chose something to, yeah.
Well, now we're going to say it again, because that was the wrong answer.
All right.
Because what you chose was what society wants you to accept. We want you to feel it from the way your inner being feels about you. Your inner being is always giving you the benefit of the doubt. And when you don't, you cause a vibrational separation. It's too strong a word, but you go out of the receptive mode. So when you say, I don't want to depend on alcohol, but I do want to feel better, and my actions were well intended. Mm-hmm. And how do you know what you do want until you know what you don't want? Isn't there a time when a drink takes the edge off and makes you feel better? Do any of you say, I should never ever drink? I should never drink because it's wrong? Is it wrong? Is it in and of itself wrong?
Not in and of itself.
You started the conversation about momentum. So what is it that makes that seemingly a wrong choice?
It screws up my emotional guidance system horribly. I do not read my emotions or those around me when I use.
We don't disagree with that, but there's a deeper, more important conversation that we want to have first. Mm-hmm. And that is, what is it about having a drink? What is it that makes the momentum take it to an unwanted place? Because a drink in and of itself is not an unwanted place. Mm-hmm. That's stopping the momentum at the top of the hill, taking the edge off, feeling good. There's a big school of thought that says that if you are an alcoholic, that you can never take a drink. Mm-hmm. And we're not wanting to step on any of those toes, but we do want to explain that it's a subject of momentum. It's a subject of focus more than it is a subject of biological response to alcohol. Mm-hmm. And so there are a whole lot of people who have convinced themselves that they should never, ever, 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 ever do that or that or that or that or that. Let's say that they should never, ever do that because it never goes well. It always leads to something not good. And we say, but in the meantime, what it's leading to that's not good is self-bashing. Can you find a way of loving yourself rather than beating up on yourself? Because there's a big difference between getting into the receptive mode where you are following impulses from broader perspective and using willpower to not do things. Yeah. You see what we're getting at? Mm-hmm. So using willpower to not do things, to say, I will never do this again. This is the bane of my existence. This is what is causing all of my problems. We want to say, no, there was a problem before that. It was a problem of misalignment that this for a little while seemed to soothe, and your motive of being soothed is not the wrong motive. That's really all we're saying with this. Okay. It's not the wrong motive to want to like yourself, and it's not the wrong motive to want to feel good. That's not the wrong motive. There could not be a righter motive than to want to feel good. Mm-hmm. And so what goes wrong with so many who are wanting to avoid alcohol or addiction of any kind is that, okay, maybe it's a good idea to not take that stuff. Maybe it does cause momentum to take you where you don't want to be. But do not go into a place where you're beating up on yourself. If you have to use self-inflicted punishment in order to prevent yourself from doing things, you're not in the receptive mode. Ooh, that was such a good thing to be said. We don't think anyone is going to easily leave behind something that they find not good for them while they're in the mode of beating up on themselves. And the only reason that it works at all is because you live in a society that has trained you to respond to negative impulses instead of listening for your guidance of alignment. Oh, this is so central to everything that we know and teach.
It's very powerful.
We want to guide you to receptive mode, not to pushing against yourself when you're not. Mm-hmm. It's like the difference between helping someone get so tuned in that they would never ever harm another and putting them in jail and torturing them because they harmed another. It's equivalent to that. It's exactly the same conversation. We would so much rather that you feel so good that you only attract good rather than that you get out of whack and then beat up on yourself for being out of whack.
Awesome.
Make sense?
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So now what do you want to talk about?
Well, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So next time you feel inclined to have a drink, you might say to yourself, what's this about? What condition am I trying to soothe? And could I soothe around the condition? Mm-hmm. But if you've waited until you're at the bottom of the hill, you're probably going to take a drink. But if you catch it, you know the analogy that we're talking about. Esther in San Francisco loved those hills and hated them at the same time, could not believe people were driving on them. So we said, imagine. Exactly. That's what she said. So we said, imagine being at the top of the hill. Take your brake off, push it a little just to see what'll happen. You know what's going to happen. So you come to your senses, you step out in front of it, you let it bump up against you. The car stops. You've stopped the problem. But you wouldn't want to be at the bottom of the hill stopping that momentum. So just want to catch it earlier. And if you don't, no big deal. There is never a reason that is important enough or significant enough to get down on yourself. Because when you do, you have violated your most powerful intention of self-love.
As always, wisdom, wisdom, wisdom being dropped from beyond the beyond. Thank you, Abraham. Your inner being never beats up on you about behavior, right? So that is your inner being, your higher self, your oversoul, your God self, whatever you want to call it, right? The universe. It never beats up on you for any behavior. It understands the contrast. It understands the chessboard. It understands the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It understands the spiral nature of reality and the idea that we repeat what we don't repair. And so, sometimes you're coming back to things for further clarification, for further, releasing of blockages and whatnot. And as Abraham said, isn't there a time when a drink takes the edge off and makes you feel better? Self-bashing is really the ultimate not good. That's the worst. There's nothing worse than that. So forget about whatever it is you're doing that you feel like you're cheating or whatever. Self-bashing about it, that's really, really where you're doing the harm to yourself. And as she talked about, and this is a great point, there's a big difference between getting into receptive mode and using willpower to not do things. So that's really sort of the aim, right? Is getting into receptive mode, not trying to force things, really finding that way we can just sort of flow down the river, merrily down the dream. And another great point, it's not wrong to want to be soothed. So a lot of times you tie together, okay, this act is I shouldn't be doing, and the reason I do it is because I want to be soothed, and so therefore being soothed is wrong. I really need to sort of suffer and suck it up. That's not the problem. If you have to use self-inflicted punishment in order to prevent yourself from doing things, you're not in the receptive mode. So punishing yourself, go easy on yourself. You deserve a break. You deserve the benefit of the doubt. You deserve, this is not, this 3D experience here on the earth plane is not for the faint of heart. We've all, just being here, you are a trooper, you are a warrior, you are a spiritual gangster. You are doing it. So just give yourself a break. Listen for your guidance of alignment. Look for that. Don't push against something when you're not feeling it. You don't resist. And, she talked about, of course, the hills in San Francisco and catching things earlier if you can. If not, no big deal, right? The sooner you can catch it, the easier it is to sort of turn the ship around. And, one of my favorite things here that she touches on, as you guys always hear me say, self-love is the number one thing we're all here to learn, I believe. And I've never really heard her say this, but really she does here. She goes, look, beating up on yourself, if you do that, you violated the most important intention of your beingness, self-love. So she really, they really validated that statement that I've been making for some time, and I haven't heard her say that, but of course it doesn't surprise me. Do not violate the most important intention, self-love. Do not violate the most important intention, self-love. I got this idea. Do not violate the most important intention of self-love. All right. That's it for today, self-loving beings. This has been magical. I love you all. I do have a song to leave you with. Hope this helps you on your journey as you continue to become more of what you are. Remember more of what you are. Let in more. Expand into the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. I have Deadova here with a song that will certainly help to instigate that energy. This song is called Myth of the Cave. Hope you enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Love you all. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
and threads that bind tell a tale of humankind. From long ago into future return, all wisdoms of life's learned. Out of the cave the shining ones rise, open eyes. We weave a new myth into the timelines. Tying the stars to the mountains to the stars. We are so high, we can see beyond the walls of our own horizons. Old basket make amends, honey, to gathering up all the faithful who left to smooth our way into emergence. Oh, I am who I am, oh, I am, reflecting all that you see I am. Generosity flows from our hands. Enough talk now, it is time for deeds. in the rising dust, in freedom and wonder create till we trust.